Hey everyone, Nereza here, and I just wanted to do a video on Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy. And the reason I want to do a video on it is because I am part of the closed beta test. So I have been having a ton of fun in Dissidia Duellum, like playing it, experimenting with some of the settings and the characters and the abilities and everything. And I've been having a really great time, so let's get into it. Okay, first let's talk about what Dissidia Duellum is. So Dissidia Duellum is a mobile game. It will be on Android and iOS. Right now the closed beta test is just on Android, and it is a team battle 3v3 boss arena. So it's a really cool concept where you're essentially on a team of 3, there's another team of 3, and you have a field that you are essentially purifying crystals to gain energy. The energy is used, it's called bravery. The energy is used then to create burst style of attacks, which are just stronger versions of your abilities and attacks, and you can use those abilities and attacks to attack bosses that appear. You can only attack the boss with burst, so essentially you're sort of in a constant mode of purifying crystals, gathering bravery, attacking the other team, but mostly going for that boss. You can chain attacks, you can do all sorts of really cool stuff, and it just increases the damage more and more. The idea of a team 3v3 in a boss battle arena is pretty cool. I like the idea of, having to work with your teammates and chain. It's definitely something where I can see the difference between a solo queue or a duo queue or a trio queue, or I guess it would be a 3 stack, right? Because it's a team of 3. Would actually make a huge difference. In some of the cases, I was able to sort of guess what was going to happen based on the other players and what they do, but at the end of the day, it was definitely super fun, and the concept is really, really great. Now, what's really cool and something that I'm very excited to continue exploring is the story. So the story essentially takes place in a modern Tokyo. All the characters have Japanese voice acting. It's really cool, and the idea is that there's a crystal in Tokyo. It's polluted with the dark energy. Monsters start coming out of the dark energy, and to help with these monsters, ghosts appear, and ghosts are essentially Final Fantasy characters that we all know and love. They appear, they take out these monsters, and they disappear, and that's why they're called ghosts. From what I have done so far in the beta, it's been really exciting to see how these characters interact in the modern world. There's little chats you can do, like they use their mobile phone. They're constantly sort of interacting with students and other members of the community in Tokyo. Some of them are going to school. They have modern outfits, so you can dress them up like they're in Tokyo versus their actual outfits in the game they came from, which they have those as well. And it's just, been really fun to unlock those text messages and videos that are on the battle pass to just see the story unfold. The idea that these Final Fantasy characters are just appearing in the modern world is actually really cool, and I'm excited to see how they continue to interact with each other. One example was the Warrior of Light and Terra were in a text conversation with Cloud, and Cloud had mentioned that he's used to this kind of thing, texting, and the Warrior of Light was like, "Oh, it was hard for me and Terra. I'm glad that you know what you're doing." So even little things like that, where it changes the dynamic, knowing that, of course, the Warrior of Light would have trouble with cell phones. Of course, Cloud wouldn't. He has one. So that was just a really fun addition, and it really brought the characters to life. Speaking of characters, let's talk about the characters in Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy so far. So as of right now, you can pull the characters, and I'm going to look over here to make sure I get them all right. The Warrior of Light, Kain Highwind, Krill, Terra, Cloud, Rinoa, Zidane, Lightning, Gaia, and Prompto. I don't know why I stopped saying their last names partway through. I think it's because I just figured you knew them. So those are the ones you can pull now. To pull characters, and again, the closed beta might be different, so I was able to get my first character as a chosen character. I chose Lightning. I feel like that would be what happens later. The rest of them you pull. So here's where the gacha mechanic kind of comes in, right? Where you earn character tickets, and you can pull characters randomly. And you will either get a brand new character, or you might get a different style of the same character. For example, I pulled, after I did my first character pull, I think I pulled Rinoa, which I did get unlimited retries for the first one. That might be closed beta specific, but I did get unlimited retries. I went till I got Rinoa. I ended up pulling Zidane with a ticket. I pulled Prompto with a ticket. And then later on, I pulled Rinoa again, but in a different outfit. So I pulled a new style. I've not yet pulled a duplicate of, like Rinoa in the same outfit. I don't know what that will look like. or if that's part of the gacha mechanic for characters. I feel like it must be because there is a limited number, but when that happens, I'll make sure to post and see if, if I get any compensation for pulling or if it's just kind of tough luck. However, I do love the idea of pulling the characters. The characters have different roles. Let's see if I can remember. There's a support role. There's essentially a mage. It's a long distance attacker. There is a sort of a speedy role, kind of a speedstery role. And then I feel like I'm missing one. I think there's like a defendery kind of role. So I'm kind of speaking in Pokemon Unite terms, but essentially each character has a role, and they all make sense for what they are. And each of those roles is very important in the battle. And figuring out who you want to level up and which abilities you want to level up become really important, especially while I've been solo queuing. It's been super important. I'm just excited to see what other characters they add to the game. I think some of the characters they added already are pretty cool. In fact, I like them all, but also some of them seem a little eclectic, right? Like, why Prompto and not Noctis? It could be because Prompto is ranged and they wanted more range, but I do know that it's going to be really fun to see more and more side characters as well as main characters show up. For example, I'm excited for Squall to show up, but also Laguna would be really cool too, right? Titus and Yuna, we definitely need them. Honestly, Lulu first would be really cool. So more to come there, but so far I've been really excited with the characters that are in the game. Now to get into the battles. So the battles are super fun. They're not super long, which I think is great. You start the battle with, your 3 team members and the other 3 team members sort of loading in. It does a wipe of all of them. You can chat a little bit and say things like, we're gonna win and things like that. So that's really fun. You generally start on opposite ends of a map. There's unpurified crystals that you go purify. After about 30 seconds, I think it is, a boss will appear. You all can attack the same boss, but the damage you deal is only for you, right? So if the boss has 1 million HP, you each have 1 million HP to chip away, and the first per team to get to 1 million wins. So that part's cool. You have to, purify your crystals to get bravery. Then you go into burst mode, which is when you have full bravery, and then all of your abilities start working. So it's very like level up, attack, level up, attack. A lot of the strat is to continue leveling up and avoiding being targeted more than anything. Attacking head on doesn't usually work, so it's been fun to learn the strategy. In the earlier modes with bot matches, it was very easy. As I started moving up, levels. As I started moving up in levels and ranks, I've been playing ranked. It got a little bit harder because some people have gotten better pulls than me or something like that. So there is a small, I want to say there's kind of a small pay to win factor at the beginning, only because you can purchase the ability to like pull a ton of abilities or pull a ton of characters, but I don't think the balance is going to be way off with that, only because there are still limits on, the rarities and things like that. So, whales in the game might end up with all of the most amazing stuff and queue with you randomly, but they could also queue on your team as opposed to on the other team. So there's lots of ways that it can work or not work. I'm sure you'll run into some matches that are just way unbalanced, but hey, that's matchmaking. So I found the battle to be very fun, very quick. I had to play around with the joystick a little bit because it has 2 positions essentially. It can be at the bottom or it can be on the side. When it's on the bottom, essentially when you play, you kind of move your finger up into the middle of the screen, which is a little bit tough in terms of playing. I felt like I couldn't see anything because my character wasn't there. You can also make it so the camera does or does not track with you. I had to turn on tracking because I couldn't use my other finger yet to move the camera. I'm sure that's the better way to do it eventually, but I just couldn't do it. I ended up moving it to camera tracking on the left so that my thumb wasn't in the way of everything and I could actually, have the camera moving. There's also a special ability each character has that's on the joystick portion of the game screen, or to the right if it's on the left. I'm sorry if this sounded confusing, but essentially there's another little area you can tap that'll give you sort of a special ability that you can do as that character. For example, Prompto, if you hold the special ability button, he'll start firing rapidly from his gun, and you can just stand in one place and sort of aim it, which is kind of cool. I think with lightning, you just dash, so you like run really, really fast, but it's very difficult to control because you're running so fast. So just little things that you can do that are individual to your character, which I always thought was pretty cool. And winning is just really fun, right? There's an MVP of the game. You can like and follow people. You can chat right after about having a good game. So it's really great. And then there were abilities. So abilities in the game, they're very similar to sort of how you might have, you know, a magic or other abilities in Final Fantasy. There's two sets of abilities. One is your main set, which you put on the character. You get, I believe, 5 of those, and they are normal, rare, super rare, and ultra rare. Honestly, I might have those wrong, but they're labeled NR, SR, and UR, and that seems accurate, so I'll look it up. But either way, they're stronger the more, you know, the more ultimate you get. And you can also get some that are character abilities, so they're only for your character. For example, I have the ultra rare lightning ability now on lightning. No one else can use it, but I also have Firaga, which is, I believe, a rare ability that anyone can use. So I set my main abilities. You can level them up using growth eggs. You can also increase their level cap with other items, but I'm sorry, with other duplicates of that ability, which is pretty cool. But at the end of the day, it's all about putting together your main set, because that's what you're going to be using in battle, not just against the boss, but also to heal and buff yourself and your friends, and also to fight the other team. There's also a set of support abilities, and I believe you can equip 6 of those. Those will only affect your stats based on the ones you equip, but they're not usable. So all abilities have stats, and they affect you on both sets, but one of them is just to increase your stats. For example, on my main abilities, if I put 5 abilities on my main that I want to use, and those stats increase my strength by 1 and my special defense by 1 altogether, then that's what I'll get. Those would be my buffs. I can also use those 5 abilities. On support, if I set 6 abilities that give me strength plus 5 altogether, let's just randomly say that, I can't use any of the abilities, but my strength is increased by 5. So that's how you can sort of buff your HP. There's sort of like an emblem or a rune system on the sort of off to the side, but you use abilities for it. So it kind of combines abilities and runes. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think one of the most fun parts I'm gonna have with this also is the community aspect. So you can follow people. You have essentially little trainer cards, right? I don't know what you would call them, maybe like profile cards, where you can set backgrounds and characters and tags. Right now I'm like FF10 fan, FF8 fan, all that kind of stuff. And you can also join full communities and chat with each other in the communities. So it's been a while since I've had a game, I think, where the Final Fantasy of it all is all smashed together. You know, Pokemon has a lot of communities, I think. Any massively multiplayer game. So maybe Final Fantasy 14 has a lot of community, of course. But just the community in a single game to talk about multiple Final Fantasies and the fandom is really exciting to me. And it could just be me not having, played any of those games, but I know I'm going to have fun with it. I'm already in a couple. And also you can send gifts to your friends that you follow. So part of what you can earn as you play are gift tickets. Those gift tickets can be redeemed for items or other things that you can just send to the friends if you decide to do so. So I also thought that was just a fun aspect that I'm going to be excited to experience. All right, now let's get into the meat of it. Let's talk about settings, customizations, and just things about the game in general, right? So a couple things that are going to be in this game that for sure everyone is going to recognize immediately and probably not be super happy about. But first is that there are gacha mechanics, right? As I mentioned earlier, the character tickets are what you use to pull characters randomly. There are ability tickets, so you can pull your abilities, which are also random. There is gift tickets, so you can purchase gifts and send them to your friends. What other? There's Moogle Gold. It has a funnier name, Mog Gold or something like that, and that's the in-game currency, the main in-game currency. There's free and paid versions. There's a battle pass, and that is effectively, you have battle pass currency to increase that. You can buy the pro version of the battle pass. So as with most games like this, all those things exist. I don't think a lot of them are fully necessary. I'm sure I'm going to drop some money into it at some point because I'm excited about it. But all of that exists, and I'm sorry, but it probably will be a lot of fun to drop a little bit of money in it to start. But also, I don't think anyone's going to have to right away. The game does seem like it's going to be very generous at the start to encourage you to purchase into it if you want to. I'm just a sucker for those things, so I'm sure I will. But those things are in there. For some of the settings that I've been noticing that I really enjoy, there's a lot of customizations. You can customize background music for your battles based on characters that you've pulled. You can also have it be random. There's a lot of camera control. There's also a lot of things like auto redeeming and stuff like that. So definitely I would say, you know, getting into the settings and customizations. Oh, you can, what else? You can customize the outfits on your characters by getting more outfits. You can customize your profile card. So there's a lot of customization and personalization you can do in the game. That's also making me feel like I'm very deep into it. And I'm excited to explore more of that as sort of a, you know, Dissidia community member, not just a player playing the game. So that's all I've done so far. I've had a really fun time playing. I know I'm gonna get into this game as soon as it comes out. It is scheduled for release in 2026 on Android and iOS devices. I'll probably end up playing it on an iOS device once I get there, but I've just had a lot of fun. I generally don't really get into these games, and it really has sucked me in. So a combination of the community and the customization and just being, you know, a fanboy of the Final Fantasy series, it's been really nice to see all the intersections and all the really fun stuff coming out of it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think of, you know, my interpretation of how I've been playing it? What do you think of the video that you've been seeing playing next to me? How does the game look? I think it looks and sounds wonderful. I think that it's going to be really great, and I really hope that you all enjoy it as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you want me to check anything out in the game for you, pull some screenshots. I'll likely be streaming it as well while I'm still in the closed beta if I can, because I am allowed to. So I think it would be really fun for everyone to see. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.